Okay, joining us now is security expert Adeola Sowetan. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
Each time you see those parents of the Chibok girls and, of course, the leaders of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, and you just wonder, you know, from where you are, how painful it really is. I guess you really cannot appreciate it unless you're directly involved. Now, with these latest developments where they were pushed back from carrying out their protests, do you think government handled this correctly?
Well, first thing, I have to commend the Chibok girls campaigners for their consistency and principle campaign. Even if it's just one person that is remaining, all conscientious Nigerians who feel the pains should support that person. Again, I want to condemn the attitude of government to have stopped the campaigners rudely, not even a minister. You know, this is, you can't run away from it. This is where we are. This is what we are as a nation. That is what we are. It's as simple as ABC. So, we are back to the Jonathanian era, where people, because they are in power or they want to get something from power, start to demobilize, you know, assault, and of course, blackmail the campaign, which cannot be possible. Because in Africa, it is worse agony for a parent to have his child lost than to have his child dead. And you cannot stop a mourner. In Africa, nobody stops a mourner. Even if your person has died about 10 years ago and it occurred to you, and you start crying. An African man or a woman, the best he can do is to appeal to you to forget the issue. Not even when mothers know on daily basis that their daughters are being raped, are being assaulted, and could have even died unsung. So this is where we are. That is our picture. So we cannot run away from that. We are not, a nation is not ordinarily assessed on the basis of how many skyscrapers are, but how safe are these people. And I think that action. I'm surprised that there's not, up till now, we don't have a presidential Chibok girl desk in the presidency. It's not only about harming. It's also.
But the information minister, Lai Mohammed, you know, says that there's so much work going on in the background that doesn't necessarily come to the media and all of that. So they're doing a lot of work.
We may not dispute that. No matter the underground work going on, the issue of public relations, particularly the affected and the campaigners, also matter. What level of underground work going on that the parents will not be aware, that the campaigners, the leaders of the campaigner will not be part of it? Is it Oro festival going underground that women will not be allowed to know? Let me tell you one thing, just like medicine, security has gone beyond what I would call unnecessary secret because it involves everybody. It's only in Oro court that you say one or two people are the Oro elders that will know what is happening there. Even medicine today has gone beyond a doctor's secret thing that they used to do in those days. Today, patients know what is wrong with her or him, what they are going to do. They will even show you the x-ray. I say, this is what you are going to do here, this is what you are going to remove here to make you better. The same thing should apply. We are not saying that you tell us tomorrow you are going to do this. No. It's about, look, the leaders of Chibok campaigners, the leaders of Chibok village, and of course the parents, representatives, should be aware of all those underground arrangements.
All right,
that will lessen.
All right, let's see from the security perspective. Because I would like to really have an underscore this, the stopping of this protest, as the case may be. Is there by any means the protest by the BBOG group, does it undermine security by any means that it was stopped?
It doesn't, because their campaign will not undermine. if I were the president, honestly, as of now, I will have a square inside the villa that I will call Chibok Square, that the campaigners will come as many times as they like to do their protest. In fact, I will have that square in front of a place that I will pass through every day so that I will not forget. So what they are doing, they are helping all of us to prick our conscience to say, look, we are not yet there. Don't forget, the campaign is not about making Buhari president. If it is that, the campaign goes off. It's not. It's about finding the girls alive, perhaps dead, and the campaign stops. But in as much as that has not been achieved, no matter whoever is in power, that campaign goes on. And I feel all of us should support. Yoruba used to say that if you had lice on your head and you start picking and killing with your nails or fingers, you have blood. It's when the lice are off, then you don't have blood.
So in other words, this action by government seems to be, government being in denial of some sorts. You are a security expert. In the wake of, this latest video and the rest of it, the Nigerian military declared some 3 people, including a journalist, wanted and all of that. A lot has been said about the need for intelligence, for the military to use intelligence to actually get these girls back. Did government or military, as it were, did they get it wrong declaring these people wanted, especially, in a situation where these people are actually available? They've made themselves available. Is government using intelligence enough?
Well, you see, we are at war, technically speaking. Because anywhere you have Chief of Army Staff not enjoying his pepper soup at officers' mess as they used to, anytime you have Chief of Army Staff going to battleground almost on daily basis, it signifies war, a state of war. And be that as it may, a lot of things are going on. Don't forget, even in the Jonathan era, people feed fat on this Boko Haram war. Even within the army, some would not want the war to end. And that should also be examined. Any available route towards ending the insurgency will be frustrated by few within the army and of course outside of army, just to make sure that the thing is,
the funds keep flowing.
Keeps flowing. So that aspect, the commander-in-chief should also look at it. Again, the little I know is that even some of these people that were declared wanted have not been invited. And of course, they were known faces, even to the government over the years, and present government, and of course, to army. I think it's not good enough, from my own personal opinion. You have to invite them. If they don't show up, you invite them again, you make attempt to arrest them. If they resist arrest, you declare them wanted. But for now, it's likely going to, demobilize others that may want to, out of genuine intention, give information. Because everything now, honestly, I'm surprised that by now, we don't have enlarged, not even within the presidency now, enlarged information gathering system. It's surprising because everybody, even the sobata, the shoemaker person in Chibok, information he gives, you have to examine it, evaluate it. The drivers evaluate that. I was detained when I was union president in Ife at Ilesha prison. I'm not sure whether they are using that method now. Do you know that we have security people even inside cells, pretending to be detainees? They will flow with you, they want to hear a lot of things. And I feel, I'm not sure they are not doing it or they are doing it. By now, we should have underground informants, security people in Chibok and around. living there as residents, working, even doing menial jobs, to continue to gauge the mood, because information flows along the line. If I tell you something now, you may keep it secret. I'm sure by next 1 month, 2, 3 months, you feel relaxed to start saying a lot of things.
True.
In your relaxed point. I'm going, Chibok, when the guy that came to me, maybe it's that guy that last year, you are warning them that this thing must not. And this is where it's important that you don't just declare people wanted. I don't know why they choose that option. Maybe they had other information that's not available. But honestly, you have to mobilize everybody. You must see it. You must consider this issue as our issues. That is the essence of mobilizing people.
We have had governments sometimes say, we know where the Chibok girls are. It's just that we don't want to engage them so that we don't put the lives of the girls in danger. But at different times, they also come, in fact, the most recent one now, the Chief of Air Staff said, well, we cannot really say we know where the girls are, as the case may be. But if it is possible that a video of this girls is sent out, there's a channel by which it was sent out, as the case may be. Does it overwhelm government, even if it means working with collaborators outside the country to try to get to the source by which these videos came out from?
Well, we are suffering from lack of technology, no doubt about that. Our modern warfare is not only waged on the gallantry of soldiers shooting alone or bombing alone. No. You can see how America was able to get
Osama bin Laden.
Essentially, it was with the help of technology. That was it. To the extent that even the guy was staying within top military area, but they didn't know, because you don't have, to discuss technology. That is what we are lacking now. A video was sent out, broadcast. Do you have the technology, even if it's not air, to start assessing, evaluating? Because there is no way you can know the code where the film was shot, how it was shot, and when it was shot. If you are seriously minded to look for it outside this country.
And it makes you wonder, when the military says they're actually examining and investigating this video to actually ascertain the authenticity or otherwise of the video. But we'll come to that later. But let's bring in Buki Shonibare, a member of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the show this morning. Well, talk to us about your feelings so far concerning the latest development. What happened as you tried to take your protests once again, or reawaken, as it were, the conscience of not only government but indeed Nigerians and the rest of the world yesterday. What's the feeling like in your camp right now, the Bring Back Our Girls campaign?
Good morning. The immediate feeling that we left with yesterday was that of, are we back to this period where we can be blocked off and we can be prevented from engaging the president and the commander-in-chief? You would agree with me that the coming out of this video is not just any event or any activity. This is a very critical development in the course of advocating for the rescue of the Chibok girls. So when yesterday we tried to engage with the president, which should have been expected, we were surprised that police were sent to us and they blocked us off. We had to sit on the floor. This was exactly what we experienced in the last administration. And one would think that in our quest to make sure that we pass the message of empathy, that a leader that is devoid of empathy may not go far with the people, especially when you've been tagged Megaskia or you've been tagged, the man of the masses. So again, it takes us back to where we were coming from in the course of advocating for the Chibok girls. We expected something better from the president and the commander-in-chief in terms of not repeating what has been happening before. The release of the video marks another critical milestone in this entire conversation. There are more girls that are shown in this video. We have tagged this video the plea for rescue video, which is different from the initial video that was tagged the proof of life video. So one would expect that at least some empathy will be shown in ensuring that there is open communication between the government and the people that we represent.
All right, Buki, from what happened yesterday, how has it impacted on the steam or the zeal by which you're trying to keep the flame alive?
I have to say that we've gone through different stages in the course of this movement, and we've had a series of disappointments. We've been beaten at different times. We've had to surmount different obstacles in this advocacy, and we've stayed true to our objective and our vision. We've also not wavered in the course of this advocacy, despite all that we have gone through. Yes, it is demoralizing. Yes, it is painful. Yes, we did not expect this from the president. Knowing that the issue of the Chibok girls was a major conversation in the campaign to get into power. The issue of the Chibok girls, we cannot disassociate the success of this particular administration from the issue of the Chibok girls. So when we begin to get sidelined and we begin to become irritant to this particular administration, it puts to question what exactly is going on. But are we going to stop? No. Are we to go back and stop doing this advocacy? No. They have simply just revived our spirit, and this is a no retreat, no surrender struggle.
All right, you're watching TVC Breakfast, and we are discussing developments from the Boko Haram quest or request for the swapping of their prisoners or some of their cohorts or some of their colleagues with the Chibok girls. And we are discussing with Adeola Soetan. He is a security expert with us here in the studio here in TVC News Center. And we have Buki Shonibare with us at Abuja studio talking about this. Now, let me come to you, Adeola. The issue of the swap of prisoners generally, when we come to the security implications of all of that, how successful? Because you talked about, you said earlier that Nigeria lacks technology. There are shortcomings here and there, but these are people that maybe all Nigerians may not be able to trust who they are and how they are going to operate, and they may not be dependable when they say we want to do this. Now, what kind of care should be taken in the concept of swap of the prisoners with the Chibok girls?
Well, conventionally, during war periods, as part of efforts to end such, swapping of prisoners of war, so to say, is not out of place. But in this instant, I'm a bit worried. One, the Boko Haram group now is split into many factions. So which of the factions is the government discussing with? And of course, the sincerity of that faction has it been evaluated? I want to pitch my tent with a security expert that says that suggests that to know the sincerity of any of the factions you are discussing with, part of the first step is for them, the Boko Haram terrorists, to release at least 5 girls before you can even start talking of swapping. Release 5 girls to let us know that you are really in custody of these ladies or these girls, that you are the genuine. Don't forget, we are not just talking of the swapping now. It's a Baba Shia scenario. During Jonathan too, it was the issue. And when Buhari came, it has also been raised. Well, those that have been caught, have they been given the status of prisoners of war or mere criminals? Because when you are swapping, you must also know the identity and the status of those you want to release. What level of engagement have been done? What level of information is available to those who are in care of who have been, detained and arrested by the government?
All right, let's bring in Foladile at this point and let's know exactly what Nigerians are thinking about the Chibok girls and the prisoner swap option that they're giving.
Fola, it's good to see you again.
Hi again. And good morning to our guests in the studio. Of course, like you rightly said, we can't ignore the place of social media in this campaign, in this discussion rather, because, the campaign, the Bring Back Our Girls campaign was actually made popular by, social media. It was, everyone on Twitter went crazy, hashtag Bring Back Our Girls, Bring Back Our Girls. And it's very sad that, it's been 2 years, it's been about 2 years and 4 months, and we're still having similar discussions. What can we do? And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that, the big question has probably been, you know where these girls are, you know who they're with. How hard can it possibly be to bring them back?
Well, security agents have said we don't actually know where they are now. So,
and well, I'll come back to you, Adiola Sheton. Let me take the tweets first. All right, so at Uguru Nwozo says, there may be no hashtag Boko Haram prisoners to swap for Chibok girls. Buhari released them into Fulani headsmen and Nigerian army. Remember when the discussion about the Fulani headsmen came and people said, oh, some of them are actually Boko Haram people disguised as Fulani headsmen. So I think that's what this person was trying to drive at. At Ubon Isang says, if United States can conduct prison swap with Taliban, then our federal government should be able to swap captured Boko Haram to free Chibok girls. And he's saying, if the United States has done something similar in the past, then we should be able to adopt this as well. Sorry, next one. Okay. At It's Looney says, I'd like to see every Boko Haram member put to sleep permanently, but I would support a prison swap for Chibok girls. They've suffered enough. Indeed. And I think we're all really desperate at this point. Anything at this point would work for us. Okay, and at Simon Wada says, Boko Haram split will definitely make the swap deal difficult. Do we have to negotiate with terrorists? This, of course, is another big, question that I think you discussed earlier about how desperate can we possibly get that we have to negotiate with terrorists. And let me ask you this, Adiola Sheton. Let me ask you this question: what are the implications of releasing these terrorists back into the society? If we do go with the prison swap option, that means releasing the people detained back into society. How dangerous can this be? What are the implications for Nigeria?
Well, it depends on balance of forces. It's dangerous, no doubt. But do we have option? We don't for now. Because every step will be taken to get the girls back. No doubt, releasing terrorists back to the camp is to make them super terrorists, if I'm more experienced, because they have not said they are not within the scope of their engagement again. If they said, look, all we have said about our organizations, where we are not Islamizing anywhere again, we are not doing this and that. Up till now, their philosophy stays. So if you are releasing them back, there's a danger that you are releasing more. In fact, they will have even gotten more information here to feed their commanders. So, but do we have options? We don't. That's the truth.
Okay.
And let me actually, before I leave, let me bring it to our guest.
As a matter of fact, that's a question we want to throw to Buki Shonibare.
Yeah, but you can
this
go
is where
ahead.
we'll let you go, Fola.
Okay, thank you. So our guest in Abuja, my question would be, are you in support of the prison swap?
Okay. Buki Shonibare, did you hear that?
Yes, I did hear that. One of the things that we have maintained as a movement, and this is putting aside my own personal opinion as a Nigerian and as a mother, but what we have maintained as a movement is to say that there are three possible options here. It's either the military action, that's the bombardment that we've been seeing, the non-military action, which is negotiation, and then the third one is perhaps a combination of both. What we have also maintained is to say that we are not security experts. We do not have the combination of information or intelligence that would help us, take a position to say this is the best thing that should be done. But let me submit by saying that whether we go for a military action, a non-military action, a combination of both, there are pros and cons for each of it. And you would see it from the social media engagement that was shown earlier as to how some people feel if we release the terrorists, are we releasing people that may come back to bomb us? If we don't release the terrorists, are we saying that the Chibok girls can continue to stay there and continue to suffer? And if we do the combination of both, what is the implication? But again, it is to say that each of these options has put on the table the need for us to sit down and have a readiness system in place in Nigeria. What that means is, for instance, if prisoners have been there for over 2 years, 1 year, do we have a DDR process in place, for instance? I mean a de-radicalization, a demobilization, and a reintegration system in place where the moment terrorists or insurgents are placed in these prisons, what sort of programs or processes are they made to go through to purge them of those terroristic tendencies that they have already imbibed, such that if we have to get to this point where prisoner swaps seem to be the popular request or the popular demand, then we are sure that should we go for that option, we are releasing into the society people who have gone through our DDR process, but most importantly, there is a reintegration system in place that these people can come back into, and we don't have to really fear, or the percentage of fear will be so reduced, it won't be so high, because they've gone through a particular program. And if such people are released into the society also, do we have in place a system where there is some form of program or there is some form of employment for them, and they don't have to consider going back into the terrorist camp for them to earn a living? So just like I said earlier, for each of these options, there are pros and cons, and I expect that this should be considered in agreeing or in coming up to the best thing that should be done. But I will tell you one thing, for the parents of the Chibok girls, any option seems to be requested, provided their daughters can be brought back.
Indeed, very well put. Foladele, are you satisfied with that response? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you
so much, Michael.
Okay, so let me still stay with you, Buki Shonibare. Now, the parents of the Chibok girls, you just referred to them, and indeed the Bring Back Our Girls campaigners. How confident are you that this government has the capacity, the willingness, the ability to actually bring back those girls at the end of the day if they use whatever options are available to them?
Thank you. You mentioned 3 critical factors that should be put on the table: the capacity, the willingness, and there's a third one. Each of these are critical factors in assessing how this government has responded so far in this issue. Does this government have the capacity? Yes. I mean, let's look at the past 1 year and some months since President Buhari came into power. Let's look at how far we have come in terms of our counterinsurgency. I mean, we no longer have to hear bomb blast every day. Boko Haram has been largely decimated. We've seen some form of success. Let's look at also the several issues, the humanitarian crisis and other issues. So in terms of capacity, this is the same Nigerian military that have won bigger wars outside of the shores of this country. This is the same Nigerian military that was not adequately equipped enough in the first place to wage this war. But now, every time we read the newspaper or we go on their social media page, we hear a lot of equipment was being bought and all of these things. So in terms of capacity for this counterinsurgency and to bring back the Chibok girls, I have no doubt about it. But that brings us to the question of the will. And by this, I mean, I would like to limit it to the political will. Is that the political will to bring the Chibok girls back? I can't say that this government is not passionate about this issue, but when we have looked at the trajectory and the chronology of events so far, it puts to question if there is indeed the political will for this government to bring back the Chibok girls.
All right, Buki Shonibare, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC Breakfast, and we wish you well in your endeavor as putting pressure on government to bring back the girls. Thank you. And certainly, Adeola Sowetan, thank you for joining us on
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.